Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have an incredibly special guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here is today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. The topic is Success Leaves Clues, and I will start with a quote from Tony Robbins. Quote, "Long ago, I realized that success leaves clues and that people who produce outstanding results do specific things to create those results. I believed that if I precisely duplicated the actions of others, I would produce the same quality of results that they had." End quote. We are so lucky to be living in a world where we have access to an abundance of information at our fingertips. There are people out there that have already done what you are trying to do. Why not seek out those clues to increase your chances of success? Here are 3 steps that you can take today. Number 1, find a coach or mentor. Number 2, find someone that has achieved what you are trying to achieve and ask if you can interview them on how they became successful. And number 3, offer to volunteer or intern for someone so that you can watch them work. You will quickly find that most people love to talk about how they accomplish their goals. It's your job to find these clues so you too can achieve success. Now, on to today's episode. Woo! We have the amazing Amanda Holbrook with us. Amanda is the financial expert that taught me all about self-directed IRAs. She was so patient with my millions of questions, so I begged her to be on the show today. Besides being completely brilliant and good looking, she has one of the greatest laughs of all time. Welcome to the show, Amanda. There's that laugh.
That was fantastic.
We got on the call today and she was talking about the weather up there and she said, we just got pounded with 20 inches. And I'm like, oh, I love getting pounded with 20 inches.
2 seconds in, I about spit coffee all over my electronics.
So you could tell where this is going to go. But no, seriously, Amanda is so brilliant in everything that she does with her finances, and she's a great teacher. So I begged her to be on the show because she's a total badass. So Amanda, give us a quick little background on you.
Yeah. So first, thank you for having me. Of course, when you asked me, I was just like, yes, girl talk.
Yay!
Exciting time, but be able to share it with all of you listening. That's awesome. Yeah. So, a little bit about me and my background, my little elevator background, if you will. So I've been doing self-directed IRAs, 401ks, finance for, over 13 years now. Make myself sound old. I've been doing it a while. So we all drink our own Kool-Aid around here. So the company I represent is Specialized Trust Company. Yeah, make sure that one's out there. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely practice what we preach. And I started in the largest self-directed firm that is out there. Is how I got my roots. Hit the ground running as their top producer for years. That's how I met a wonderful family that does turnkey. I'm sure many of you know. So I have 5-6 successful years there as a senior portfolio advisor. So I have helped others grow by managing large turnkey portfolios. And the backbone of those were, guess, they're in self-directed retirement accounts.
Of course.
So, because I really care about my clients and their client experience, I found in working with other custodians and administrators like ours that I just ended up doing their job for them to save the experience for my client. We've all been there, so when Edwin and Keith, they're the founders here at Specialized, approached me and said, hey, we're going to do it our way, the way we want. And we're starting this company, Specialized Trust. I'm like, count me in, guys. So here we
And
are.
that's how we met, because they were speaking at an event, a meetup that we had down in Raleigh, and you flew in, and I was like, "Ooh, I like her a lot." And I'm a former teacher, so how you explain things is just for a dumbass like myself when it comes to finances. I married an accountant, and thank goodness, because when it comes to money situations, I'm like, duh. So you explain things so well, and I appreciate that. And I'm ready to rip into some questions here. But really quick, you are married and you have 2 kids, correct?
Yes, yes. So my credentials technically go, I am a mother of 2 little beauties, Aubrey and Colton. Then I am a wife. Yeah, obviously I'm also a Catholic. We'll throw that in that mix too. Um, and then I'm a self-directed IRA ninja and a real estate investor too, like all in that order.
And you're in the same education program that I'm in. So you also, for my listeners, are a real estate investor.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I drank my Kool-Aid.
Perfect. Perfect. And you have fantastic Halloween costumes, by the way. I love stalking you on Facebook. Your family does the cutest costumes. I love it. Let's start with the super uber basic. What is a self-directed IRA?
Okay. The $1,000,000 question. So for those of you that aren't aware exactly what a self-directed IRA is, when you log into your account, pick the big bank name, and it says you have a self-directed account, and I'm using my air quotes, that is not truly a self-directed account. That means you get to pick your stocks, bonds, and mutual funds yourself. Okay, that's not a self-directed IRA. A true self-directed IRA allows you to do things that are not in the stock market. Examples, rental properties, private lending, tax liens, timber, Forex, cryptocurrency, the list goes on. So anything to be generic that's outside of the box, that's what a true self-directed IRA is, or self-directed custodian would hold like us. Is that a good, clear explanation?
So, I'm a former teacher and I had a 403B, and then I left teaching. I climbed corporate America, I climbed the ladder of corporate America
Uh-huh.
and had a 401k. And then they would like match things, but you had to choose what, if it was going to be, was the term aggressive or conservative or something? I don't know. So how is that different with a self-directed IRA?
Okay. So a self-directed IRA, the difference is you were programmed like most of America, Jen. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, HR gives you a 401k, you pick something off the screen, you buy, hold, and hope and pray. It's if I'm summarizing that correctly. Okay, well, here in a self-directed account, you choose. You're in complete control of what you want to invest in. So if you found, hey, I think I want to do a rental property, like you can do that. And can I use your 403B as an example?
Of course.
Okay. So for many of you listening out there, you probably switch jobs at some point. So if you got all your paperwork together, you realize, like most do, oh, I have an old 401k or a 403B, or, if you were in the military, it's something called a TSP, that's just kind of sitting out there that you're like, oh man, I kind of just left it behind sitting in the dust. Like, what can I do with that? That's a perfect example of a vehicle that you can roll over to a self-directed type of account. So like account to like tax environment. Okay. I do that part, by the way. If I'm leaving that mystery, that's what I do.
Okay. Perfect.
So I'm the magic behind the curtain that makes that so simple. Okay?
So I just quit my job. I call Amanda.
Yeah. You quit your job. You have you can access that money. Call Amanda. Within 1 to 2 weeks, we have your funds ready to go and self-direct. Now you're ready to go. Shopping. And what I mean by shopping is investment shopping. So whether it's a rental property or a private lender, if I said be the bank, do you know what I mean by that?
No. Well, I kind of have an idea because, we have a self-directed IRA that you hooked us up with and got us started and everything. So I understand. And the beauty of it is that I really enjoy is we get to pick the interest rate that it's going to earn. And we have from previous jobs rolled over my 403b, a 401k. Vance, my husband, has money in there too. And then we'll lend that to other real estate investors, but we choose the interest rate. So I feel like that's what you're talking about, that I would be the bank, correct?
Yes, yes. And I guess let me preface that before I jump, feet first into this, because we started with, education. And most folks, when they hear about this, the challenging part for them to wrap their mind around is because how do I find that investment? How do I
Right.
find a rental property? How do I find someone to lend money to that might be flipping properties or starting a company?
Because honestly, I never heard of this before I got into real estate investing. I never even knew what this was. So for those people who are not real estate investors, like, is this something that they can do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's where I was going. Like, for most of us that are in W-2 world, that aren't in the real estate realm, you watch HGTV, right? And you're like, ooh, that looks so fun. They get to
And
make
it's total bullshit.
and pretty. Oh, yes, agree. you know, but where do they get the money from? Where do you think they get the money from? It's from private investors that are using their IRAs. So how does that work? That's where I came from, is when I meant be the bank. So the way to kind of dip your toe in that pool without, diving into the deep end is to private lend or be the bank. And what that means is, I'll give you a simple analogy that I'm sure most of you listening have. I mean, majority of us have something, a roof, four walls, and a floor beneath our feet, a house that's typically tied to a mortgage that is given to us by a bank, right? And if you don't pay that mortgage, they take the house, right?
Right.
That's what's securing it. So another way is, what's the tallest building in pretty much every city, even small town America? It's
It's a bank.
It's usually a bank. Yeah.
I was like,
I know.
I wasn't expecting a tough question.
Not a spot question. Trivia. But I say that is because, why wouldn't you want to be in that position if you could be? Why do banks lend on houses? That's a big backbone of the banking industry, is lending on real estate. So most of you listening, if the light bulb's starting to go off, you realize if you have those old 401ks or 403b sitting out there, if you have them on a self-directed platform, you can be the bank. And guess what? When you lend to someone, why I say that's like dipping your toe in. I'm a big educator, but I also like to earn while I learn.
Of course.
Your bestowment was perfectly spot on. And you said, get a mentor, find out someone that will show you the path that they blaze to get to where they're at today. Well, guess what? If you can do an investment with that person, earn a little money and learn how they got there, kind of sweetens the pot a little bit.
So I have a question. If, you're in a W-2 and your money is being invested for you and you see the stock market going up and down, and it gets very volatile at times, but there's no effort on behalf of the person who has it. So how much effort is it for them to now take this self-directed IRA and now invest into real estate? Is there a lot of effort in there? Like, how does all that work?
You know what, Jen? That is a phenomenal question as far as effort and time. And my direct response, it's completely up to you. Because there's, like everything, there's options of how much time you want to put into that investment. For some, they want to go in and they want to manage all of the details, and they want to, the creation of the deal is exciting to them. So they want to be more hands-on. So something like, tax liens or something you research would be more suited for them versus, your average W-2 individual that is 4 kids, wife, you need sleep, you're working 60 hours, successful career. You don't have the time, but you see the need for diversification. There's passive options. Lending is a passive option. What in every career, what do they tell you? It's who you know, right?
So like, what are the steps for them to do that? So if someone wants to lend to me, what do they have to do to get the money to me? Like, what's the time frame for that?
Yeah, time frame, super simple. So you open an account and fund it. We take care of that. That starts with a simple phone call, guys. Okay. I do all the paperwork. It's all done via DocuSign. So from the time we have the conversation, you get your paperwork clicked and signed. You are 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the institution you're at. Funds are here. There's no minimum amount of time they have to stay in the account or be seasoned. You keep $1,000 in the account, invest every last penny. So while that's happening, Jen, guess what? That's in the pipeline, coming up for acquisition. So, so for buying the next property, she's out shopping for you and says, okay, great. We've got a deal. So the two, not to get too technical, it's a note and a mortgage, for those listening. Like those are the pieces of paper that create that investment, just like when you bought your house, except you're doing it with an investor. And the only difference on there, instead of Jen Josie being the lender, or I'll use myself, Amanda Holbrook being the lender to you, it would be specialized trust company custodian, FBO, Amanda's Roth IRA or 401k. And that's it. Everything's just done via email, investment wire sent out in 24, 48 hours.
So I sign a paper that says I'm going to lend $50,000 to this real estate investor. I send it to you, and then that money is sent to them.
Correct. You got it.
So there truly is not a ton of time spent as an investor, as the holder of the account.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's stay with real estate just for a second here. My mother is a baby boomer, and she does not have a self-directed IRA, but she has other money coming in. She owns her house outright. We just made a bucket of money on this one property that we just sold. And she's like, oh, well, you can lend it to me. I'm like, girl, I've been telling you, if you want to lend, I can make your money grow. And she's like, I just don't know. And so talk to the baby boomer. She's afraid she's going to lose everything because, her parents went through the, depression and all that stuff. So nothing is 100% ever. Like you said, a tornado could come through and wipe it out. But how would you speak to that baby boomer, and how would you talk to my mother, basically? What would you tell her?
Yes. So I have this conversation day in and day out, Jen. It's a mindset shift, which after going through turbulent times and trauma, it's a more turning of the Titanic. It's a little bit slower, versus talking to a millennial that's like, oh yeah, I get it. I want to do things different. Done. So how you approach that, when you're looking at real estate, whether it's inside or outside of a self-directed account, is that control and security measure, compared to the stock market. It's like your pros and cons list, and you're literally just outlining, okay, real estate is secure. It's tangible. It's insured. Okay. It appreciates and it cash flows. There aren't many assets out there that grow two ways. You're a teacher, you love acronyms. I know this, so, it's a smart investment, so when you weigh that compared to the volatility of the stock market, which way is going to get you to where you want to go and have less risk? Because let's put our, the conventional hat on. If you're talking to a financial professional and they come with your mother, that mindset of fear and I'm going to lose everything. The product they push, it's an annuity. If you know what an annuity is, it's consistent, predictable income. But annuities earn maybe 2%.
Right.
That doesn't hedge inflation. Okay. And if you're not hedging inflation, making more than what inflation is, guys, you're just guaranteeing yourself you're going to go broke a little bit slower than the next guy. That's it.
So how are you secured?
So how are you secured in an annuity?
No, I'm sorry. How are you secured with the real estate?
So how you're secured with the real estate, whether it is a rental property or your private lending, is the retirement account actually owns it.
Correct.
It's directly titled to that asset. So if you're to go look in the county and say, ooh, who owns that beautiful little duplex over on Main Street? You can look up and see, oh, specialized trust company custodian, FBO, Jen's mom, owns that. So when you own the asset directly versus being lumped into a mutual fund where it's always a mystery of what it's invested in, but it costs a lot, exactly what everything is up front. So you have more control of not only just the expense, but you also have control of the cash flow, who the tenant is. So you see the different layers of security, and it also has, and many don't really go this far, but it has a feel good factor. And you do real estate, so you know what it feels like to hand over the keys to a brand new renovated home to a couple that just got married and are going to have their first baby, and that's going to be their home. Or to take a property that was just completely neglected and the city wanted to blight, but you gave it life again. And now you're providing a home for someone that, might have been in a little bit more lackluster, living conditions. You're giving back to the community, so there are a little bit more feels with the, I guess, when you're talking just real estate. But when going back to your mom's scenario and your baby boomers, I find the fear of diversification is there, but I think the need far outweighs that fear. Because guess what? If we take another hit like we saw in March, those folks that are trying to retire, they're not going to be able to retire because their accounts are going to get knocked down 25, 50, 75%. How long does it take to recoup that?
That's crazy. So if I am not lending out of my self-directed IRA, is it earning any interest while it sits there?
So that's a good question. Yeah. So when your account is at a self-directed custodian, like Specialized, okay, it is an FDIC insured account. Okay. So it's like a savings account. It's non-interest bearing because we're not a brokerage.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I can't just say, oh, we're going to pop it in an index fund. Now, could you open a brokerage account in the name of your IRA on whatever platform? You sure could. And there's a ton of creative things we can go into, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today.
There's so many things. If I am lending out of my self-directed IRA for an investor who is flipping a property, my company, my specialized trust company is going to be first on the mortgage. Is that correct?
Correct.
So then when the house is sold, does the investor get paid first or do I get paid first?
You get paid first. So the IRA as the lien holder gets paid first. And it's just the traditional closing will be handled by your title company or a closing attorney, depending on what state you're in. And that's just like when you sell your own property. But instead, it will be paid to Specialized Trust Company Custodian FBO, your IRA, for the interest and the terms that were outlined in the note in the mortgage. And that goes right back into your account and grows tax deferred if it's, traditional 401k, or tax free if it's a Roth.
Okay. So another question I have, how much can I now contribute to my self-directed IRA per year? Now that I've opened it, how much can I contribute per year?
Yeah. Ooh, I love this one. Okay. So there's two types of accounts. You have personal accounts and you have business accounts. Okay. So personal accounts, you can do, if you're under 50, you can do $6,000 a year. So that's a traditional or Roth IRA. Over 50, $7,000 a year. Okay. You're like, oh man, that's not that much.
It isn't.
No, it's not. It is a vehicle that is meant to build over time. Thank you, IRS. Okay. So,
but there are ways to add a chunk at a time. So what are those life situations that happen where you can roll something into it?
Yeah. So, life situations would be, you leave a job, if you change jobs, which statistics are, 35-year-olds change jobs 3 times.
This is going to stress you out. When I taught in Florida for 10 years, I had no clue what I was doing. Growing up, we didn't discuss finances or anything. And so someone sat me down and said, how much do you want to contribute per month to your 403B? Again, this is teaching. And I don't know. So I think I did like $200 a paycheck or something. So something ridiculous. So when I left there, I only had about like $25,000, 10 years of teaching, by the way, $25,000. That's pennies. And when I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, no one taught me what to do with that account. So it literally sat there for 10 years until I met Amanda Holbrook. And that money sat there. That's why I asked the interest question before, because I didn't make shit off this account. If I had started investing it at the time, I mean, I did the numbers before and I could have doubled it, folks, doubled it in the 10 years, if not even more. Once you lend it out, you make that money, then it goes back into your account. Then you can lend out that full amount that the interest that you earned off the first one, you can lend that out. And so it would, snowball and snowball. And so Amanda is the one who taught me that. I just thought it was just going to sit there. And then when I turn, how old do you have to turn to take your money, by the way?
59 and a half.
59 and a half. So I literally thought that 25,000 was just going to sit there waiting for me and be like, hey, cruise when I turn 60. So I did not realize that I had access to it. So Amanda, you took me by the hand and said, please let me help you with this. So do not feel stupid if you're listening and going, oh my God, I have one sitting there, because Jen had one sitting there for 10 years.
Most people do. Like, don't kick your own ass. I mean, most people do. And, I consolidated upwards of like in the teens of accounts. It's just that it happens. But, the other thing too, like some might be listening like, oh, it's only 25 grand. What the heck could you do with that? Oh, absolutely. There's tons of stuff. And I always get that question. Well, I only have, 2, 3, 5,000, what can I do? Or you have kids. How can I get them involved? How can I get them saving? It doesn't take, minimum account balance, like to start a Roth IRA, for example, is $1,000. If you're saving, like have money in a savings account, you better have that in a Roth IRA to at least your contribution limit. Because you know what? If you put that money in, what do you think the number one objection is to people not saving in a Roth? What if you need that money? What if 2020, a COVID pandemic happens? What if I need that money? Guess what? You can take that money out penalty-free and tax-free. Of a Roth IRA. Most people don't know that. So there is absolutely no excuse in the world to not save for yourself for a Roth or for kids. And for those of you that do have a bit of financial background, there's no income limitation, by the way. There's a way around that. I get that one a lot.
Don't your kids have them? Don't your kids have
Oh yeah.
And so how did they do it?
So if any of you see my Facebook, you see we get professional pictures done pretty regularly. And it's not just because I love my kids and I'm a doting mother, but if you were seeing a presentation right now, guess who you'd be seeing in that presentation? My kids. Because guess what? I pay them as models. They're only, right now they're 4 and 8. Okay. So it's not like they're doing a lot of admin work or anything like that, but I'll use them in my presentations and marketing material.
And they're considered employees. Yeah.
Yeah. So I 1099 them, because what do you need to have a Roth IRA? Earned income and a heartbeat and a social security number. That's it. So, when someone tells you you can't, number one piece of advice, ask why. And because like I was saying, I've had business owners, and I talk to at least 2 to 3 CPAs a week. And it's like, okay, what is your tax strategy, for saving? You've had a business for how long? You've only had a traditional IRA. There's business accounts for you guys out there. Even if you're W-2'd and you have an LLC that is your quote unquote side hustle, you can have a 401k there that will allow you to put away over $57K a year versus $6,000 to $7,000.
Wow.
Now that will move the needle. That will move your, whether it's capital gains, et cetera. When it comes down to that tax time, would you rather pay yourself or Uncle Sam?
So I have a couple questions just for me personally. And, but you are going to offer the listeners something amazing, and I want them to totally take advantage of it. So tell them really quickly, and then I'm going to just rattle off some of my personal questions here, but go ahead.
Sure. Shoot. So for everyone listening, I'm a big believer of practice what you preach. So what we talk about in self-direction, it's individual. Every individual listening has a different scenario. So I'm pledging a half hour of my time to
half an hour, people. So like I begged her to get on the show, and she's giving away half an hours, like to whoever wants them. So get on the phone with Amanda and have her speak with you and walk through specific ones. So speaking of being specific, I have a friend who is starting this crazy awesome app for contractors and for investors and for lenders. And so I want to invest in his company. Can I invest with him out of my self-directed IRA?
So this is your friend. Is it not of direct lineage in any way, shape, or form, correct?
No.
Then absolutely.
Okay. And then so when the project starts earning interest, where does that money go? Does it go to my pocket or does it go to the account?
It goes right back to the account.
Okay. So even though I'm investing in this super crazy, awesome startup, I'm not going to see that money till I turn 59 and a half.
Correct. When you distribute it, but you'll see it in your account.
Perfect. When it goes back into my account, can I then take that money and lend it out to others?
Sure. Reinvest your heart out, baby.
Yes. All right. Can I borrow money out of my own account?
I'm going to piggyback on your app, friend.
Okay. Piggy.
You know what? You know what was another, I'll give you an example. That was another crazy app idea at one point. PayPal.
Oh.
PayPal. So Peter Thiel, he's one of the creators of PayPal. He bought shares of that company in his Roth IRA. Now, you guys have heard me drop this. Roth IRA grows tax-free forever. Okay? Forever. And when he sold PayPal, he made over $100 million tax-free.
Holy shit.
So I recommend doing that investment in your Roth IRA or partially in your Roth.
That is amazing. So can I borrow money out of my Roth IRA?
So not your Roth IRA.
I mean, sorry,
my 401k.
My 401k. And isn't it something like I can borrow 50,000 or 50% of what's in there?
Yes.
Per year.
Per year. Well, it's not per year. It's you have one loan out at a time. But the key is it's restriction free. So here's the question that I get all the time, Jen. Okay. Hey, I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. And this retirement stuff's great, Amanda, but I want to make this money, earn some money in my pocket today. How the heck can I do that without breaking the law? A Roth, it's called a Roth Solo 401k is the plan we set up. That's the triple threat. I'll touch on that. But you do the loan, the 401k loan, and you pay yourself back with interest. Would you rather pay a bank or yourself?
Ah.
Yeah.
So I take 50K out to buy a property and then I end up, I flip it, whatever, and then I sell it. Do I keep the difference or does that have to go back? I'm paying interest or what goes back into the account?
So what goes back into the account is the interest on the money you borrowed. So for our loans that we do, they're over 5 years, so 60 months, and you're paying yourself at prime plus 2.
Okay.
Okay. So at that point, Jen, you can say, all right, I'm ready to do another flip. I want to have this money working for me. Or you can just pay back the loan in its entirety. And when you have another deal, take another loan out.
Awesome. What can I not do with my 401k?
Okay.
My self-directed 401k.
Okay. The no-nos. Okay. It's more of who you do business with. Okay. So number one is self-dealing. If you own a company 100%, can you lend that money to yourself from your 401k? The answer is no.
Okay.
IRS wants you guys benefiting outside of the retirement account in retirement after 59 and a half. Okay.
Okay.
Another example there, these are my creative what-ifers that are listening to me. Hey, Amanda, I've got a cash cow of a duplex in Raleigh. Can I just buy it from myself in my IRA? No, because you already own it. You're purchasing from yourself. Number two, I'm sure you've done this a million times, but the family tree. Okay. Everybody think your family tree, right? Literally draw it out in your mind. Who's above you, who's below you, who branches off. Okay. Everyone in the trunk is off limits. So your parents, your grandparents, your children, your grandchildren, including your spouse, everyone in the trunk of that tree is off limits. You can't lend to them. They can't lend to you. If they're a branch on the tree, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, cool beans. You guys can lend to each other all day long. That's okay.
Ah.
So it's just direct lineage for those of you.
So my mom, the baby boomer, can't lend to me out of a self-directed IRA?
She could not, no.
But she could get a HELOC on her house at 5% and then lend to me at 10%. What?
Absolutely. And she can
Okay.
partner her self-directed IRA with yours because it's undivided interest. So there's no commingling of funds. So if she wanted to own half the deal and Jen's 401k wanted to own a half the deal, that's okay too.
So she's in her 80s. There's no reason for her to take out a self-directed IRA though.
No, if
Okay.
she would be doing anything, it would be a Roth IRA and strictly for beneficiary purposes for you.
Gotcha.
Because well, I'm going to elaborate on that. So if you're listening and you've inherited money, okay, in a Roth IRA or traditional IRA.
So someone leaves their IRA to somebody else.
Yes.
Okay.
In passing. So you inherit this Roth IRA now. What do you do with it? You have to cash it out. And that's what most people think. They have to take that lump sum. And the answer is no, you don't. You can actually create, it's called an inherited or a beneficiary IRA. So you can continue to invest within it and you can pull the cash flow from it if you wanted to, because the person that passed was over 59 and a half.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, you can self-direct inheritance too.
All right. So I just quit my corporate America job and I am starting a business on my own. And I want to take my 401k from my corporate America job and make a self-directed IRA. How much does it cost to transfer that money, open the account? Is there like a percentage of, say I have $100,000. Are you taking a percentage of it or is there a flat fee? Like how much does that cost?
Yeah, I'm just to not get into all of like the nitty gritty numbers. A self-directed IRA is less than 1% of your value.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to compare that to like your managed accounts is typically between 6 to 7%. And you don't even know you're paying it. So self-direction in itself is cheap. So that sounds horrible. It's inexpensive and efficient. It's not expensive to do is my point. If you're self-employed, like this person, this, fictional character here, okay, you'd be starting what's called a Roth solo 401k. So if you're a business owner out there, you have until December 31st to talk about a Roth solo 401k. So if you're a business owner and you don't have this, like take me up on our 30-minute, one-to-one conversation here. And
this was what you said was going to be because I always ask my badass interviewees, what is a badass bestowment that you would like to share? And this is something that you were talking about. So be very specific on this. It's a Roth solo 401k. Is that what you said?
Correct.
And it's for business owners. So
business owners with no W-2 employees other than possibly you or your spouse.
Okay.
That's the qualifications. So even if you have a W-2 job and you participate in that 401k, can you do this too? Absolutely.
And why is it smart to do this before the end of December?
So you physically have to have the plan open to take advantage for 2020. Most other accounts, you have until tax filing deadline, not the solo K. You have to physically have it established this year. So don't let timing, be the issue of like, oh man, I missed the boat. Don't miss that boat.
Gotcha.
You don't have to do the max contribution to it until tax filing, but you have to set it up this year. That's
folks, the key. That is a very, very good badassery bestowment. So take advantage of that. Give her a call. Last question to you. We had 2020. This year sucked. What should we do? You as the financial expert, what are some things that we should be doing right now just to kind of protect our funds?
Yeah. So I always break it down to this. The equation is this. How do you earn it? How do you keep it? And we're Team Keep It at Specialized Trust. Okay. How do you grow it? How do you protect it? That's it. Okay. So what should you be doing now? Things are getting volatile right now. And we're going to see the backlash of everything that's been happening. Diversify. What I mean by that is move some of your portfolio. You don't have to do all of it, but if you're all in stocks and bonds and you're like, ooh, I'm riding the wave, double check what you've got going on. Put some of it into a cash position, self-direct it, get ready to take advantage of the private lending demand and the property and the asset acquisition that's coming. Okay. Like you said, your friend's startup here. That's another example of there's a lot of opportunity out there. So diversify. Because I'll tell you what, let's rewind some of this pain of 2020. What happened in March? It was like a big, moment, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If you were all in the stock market and you were on my phone, I was drying a lot of tears, passing out a lot of tissues. So it's like, oh, I lost money. What do I do? How do I get it back? And at the end of the day, my advice is, well, you need to diversify something. I'm never going to say put all your eggs in one basket, but diversify. The people that are not struggling right now have diversification and multiple streams of income. Okay. Set yourself up for success. Don't have that fear of missing out. Take action today and get yourself diversified. Even if you're not sure what to do just yet, you want to do something. Doing that something, especially now at year end, get it set up. Because don't be that guy, and I know you empathize with this. In real estate, it's always timing, right?
Right.
Oh, I'm going to wait until I find a deal. Well, guess what? I told you it takes about 2 weeks, right? Well, when Jen calls with an opportunity or somebody says, we got to close next week, guess what? You're missing that opportunity because you weren't ready. You didn't have your cash in the right spot. And I see this all the time. And then they call me. And one of my opening lines, if you've ever called my phone, hey, this is Amanda Holbrook, Specialized Trust. What mountains can I move for you today?
I love it.
Especially year end, like it happens. Solo 401k. Oh my gosh, Amanda, I need to have this done. Yes. And I make sure you're taken care of course. But diversify, take action. Solo Ks, Roth IRAs. The other part I'm going to put in that or bestowment here, Jen.
Yes.
Is this year, a lot of you were taking a lot of write-offs. There's a lot of write-offs, and I'm not a CPA, full disclaimer. I didn't give that disclaimer. I'll do it at the end. Okay. Look into a Roth conversion. If you can convert any of your money to being tax-free forever and not pay any taxes on it, why not? So if that's a question or, best practice or some homework, we can call it, email your CPA and ask, hey, can I convert anything this year without holding a tax bill? See what they say.
I love it. You have dropped some massive nuggets on this, so I appreciate it very, very, very much. Second half of the podcast, I like to ask my badass questions. It's an acronym. The B in badass is book. Tell the listeners, what is a book that made a huge difference in your life?
Okay. This is the easy one. So for all of you listening that try to do it all, try to be, rock star mom, wife, business owner, W-2 success, Traction by Gino Wickman.
Oh my goodness.
Operating system.
I use that book like a textbook.
Traction.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're trying to get it all done and you're not finding yourself being able to, you need 20 more hours in a day, like start there, and you'll get to your goals on time.
I love that book. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What is the best piece of advice you ever received?
So this is one you've ran into analysis paralysis, right? Now, if you can imagine, I'm a spreadsheet geek. Go
Nerd.
figure. Nerd. Yes, I'm total nerd and I love it. Let that nerd flag fly. But if you've ever missed out on an opportunity because you're being too analytical, I had a mentor of mine tell me one time, I'd rather be ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice. And that just sticks with me. Like,
ooh, say it again. Say it again.
I'd rather be ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice. And the meaning there is you don't have to know every little nuance, especially, take what I do with self-direction. This is all from the Internal Revenue Code publications, 598, 590B, IRC 4975, 598. I can give it all to you. Do you really want to read that?
No.
That's what, surround yourself by those that are experts in your field and go at it. But you need just enough information to get the results that you're looking for. You don't need to know everything.
Yeah, my husband, Vance, definitely has analysis paralysis. So I'm going to have to share that little nugget with him. All right. So the D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
It's really in my DNA, but, another way is, what's my why? It's my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, and I know that probably sounds cliche, and I can see your vision board, and well, I have a nice little background, but you can see mine's behind me too. It's definitely my family and experiencing life. I want to be able to suck up every little experience and just live it to the fullest. And I think one of the most challenging things, and this goes, I think, to one of your later questions too, is being present. I want to be present for my kids and for experiences and for meeting other great entrepreneurs and, families and businesses. Like that's the why. So.
And I think you are very present. I can remember having drinks with you in Jamaica, and you full on were answering my questions when you are on vacation, but you are so present with me. And I will never forget that. So thank you for that. The second A in badass is aspiration. What is a goal that you are currently working on?
So professionally, my goal is to double the number of self-directed IRA conversations and therefore accounts and activities that we're doing now. And that's been a big focus since I haven't been traveling. It's the more we can talk to you, the better. And that goes down to education and family. The more conversations you have, the more little nuggets you bestow. So regardless if you do anything, it's spreading the good word. So kind of doubling that, key metric, if you will, is one of my professional goals. Personally, doubling that passive portfolio. That's the goal we're working on.
Aren't we all working on that?
Yeah, so I'd say that I think that's a forever lasting one.
Yes, definitely. All right. The first S in badass is systems. What systems do you have in place that help you to achieve success?
I would say one of the biggest systems I have is time blocking and the process and procedure checklist, if you will. When you do self-direction and investments and due diligence, this can spread across other avenues, but kind of being very intentional with your time and the time that you're allotted. And then those checklist, process, and procedure allow me to be more efficient within that time block. And that's something I'm constantly working on. Like, for example, I'm giving you guys all my time trade link. Some of you use Calendarly. That's yep. Like a lifesaver.
Oh my goodness. Total. And I had an issue with my phone the other day and I lost my calendar for like 30 minutes. I was like, I couldn't function because I didn't know what was. So yes, that is one of my systems as well. And the last S in badass is success. So what does success mean to you?
Success to me is being able to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. And not having, and this is more of a female, maybe mother perspective, but without having that guilt of you should be doing something else or,
yep.
I should be doing this more or, oh, maybe we'll get to that later. No, just to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. And again, be present. That's the success, that knowing that you have the processes, the team, the infrastructure, and that it's all working, in harmony.
Well, thank you so very much for joining me today. And thank you for moving my mountains because you have helped me grow my retirement account. And I'm truly grateful for that. I'll be waving to you from the cruise line when I'm 59 and a half. So thank you, Amanda, so very much. And folks, that is all. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.